One of the things that I think we feel very, very strongly about is that, and I would say this to everybody, is that ultimately any impact, and we're a medium-sized company, on some, depending on where you are, maybe in this conference we'd be a big company, but in, other conferences we'd be tiny compared to other companies that are out there, and certainly in travel and tourism. Ultimately, though, the effect and the impact that we can have on the world is really through our guests. We don't generate a lot of greenhouse gases. We don't pollute that much. We're not, our business is a relatively clean business. We're, as I said, so far ahead of so many other companies in terms of our passion, in terms of our commitment to this. So I think the other piece that we've said in terms of our core is the core of our sustainability efforts has to be something that really gets the guest excited. Because if it doesn't, then two things are wrong. One is we're spending a lot of time and effort and energy and money on something that's may not be aligned with our long-term financial interests. Two, if the guests don't take what we're doing and then run with it somewhere, then quite frankly, we are not really achieving the full impact that we could have. Last, what I'd say is I think one of the things that we ran into, and this was true with the energy layoff, so one of the easy things to say, well, in our business, let's say, is, well, if you could imagine snowcats, right, these big, machines that are running all over the snow and are operating at, 11,000 feet, and they're going up steep hills, they use a lot of diesel fuel. I mean, we'd be kidding ourselves to say otherwise. So an obvious way to reduce energy is just, well, groom less terrain. Another obvious way to save on energy would be to not make as much snow. So if there's no snow early season, we make snow so that there's a product for our guests. Well, one easy thing to say is, well, wait a minute, is that really that important? I mean, the scheme of things, why not just open later and don't make any snow and save the electricity? We looked at, it's an issue and it's a question that we have to look in the mirror at, I think, quite often. And what we wind up doing is we have essentially drawn a line in the sand. And what we've said is we will not go down that path. We will not take away anything from the guest to try and push forward our environmental activities. We will not have our guests come to our resort and experience something less than in the name of saving the world. Why? One is we'd go out of business, which is maybe the most important thing from, as CEO of a public company. And the reason for that is simple. No one should kid themselves. When you look at a broad scale, I think the great thing is that we have a moment in time in the U.S. where people are starting to be environmentally conscious and sustainability conscious and care about organic. I mean, that momentum is here and it's very, very, very real. But no one is willing to take a lesser product because it's sustainable. I mean, or only a very small percentage of the population. I had actually, I was speaking at a Condé Nast Traveler conference, and somebody asked, well, why don't we penalize our guests who, we have the program in our hotel rooms where you don't have to, if you keep the towel on the rack, then we won't wash it. So somebody said, well, what about penalizing your guests if their towels are on the floor? And I said that would be like the easiest way to lose every single customer you have. And again, that line, it's funny on that one, but it's not, that same issue comes up over and over and over again. Again, this false choice. We've said no. So with the energy layoffs, we will not cut back, and this has been true on every single thing that we do. We're going to find a way to do more with less. So we are going to conserve, get more efficient, but the guest is going to continue to see an increasing experience that they're willing to pay for. Now, you take all this together. As my board, the board of directors of our company, comes, they're great people. None of them are environmentalists. None of them are activists. None of them, this isn't, they didn't join our board because of this topic. Same thing with our shareholders. We have, Janus and Fidelity and all kinds of mutual funds from another company. None of them put their money in our company because, we were an environmental company. They want to see profits and value increased. So the goal for us is to make each and every one of these projects that I just outlined and all the things that we're going to do coming forward clearly driving shareholder value at the same time. Because if they're not driving shareholder value, then they will be cut so quick. Now, a great example is the money we're putting towards wind credits, which, for those who know, it has nothing to do with the electricity we're purchasing. We could cut off buying wind credits tomorrow and not redeploy the money anywhere, and we'd get just as much energy as we had before. This is something that we are doing as a sign. There is no pressure to take that off the table because I think people have seen that we have aligned including our shareholders, including our board, we have aligned our efforts on the environment with our business. We have found the messages and the activities that are not kind of standalone. They're integrated into everything else that we do. And what I would say is there's probably 150 other projects, other opportunities, other things that we have looked at and will look at that wouldn't stand that test. And I think that's really been one of our, our ultimate, drivers to this.